round 2 of the Perspective series on Today's Work is Hybrid. Last week, I got to speak to Michelle Anhang, a certified coach. We got very close to boundaries and what those look like in the hybrid world, because as we all know, it's looking a bit different than it used to a few years ago. And in this episode, I am so pleased to invite our very own Chief of Staff at Thoughtium, Amanda Lobo. And today, our lens is going to be all around how leaders can bring the whole self to work. And what do I mean by that? We are all people before professionals. And in the hybrid world, sometimes we lose sight of that. And today we're going to give you 4 clear ways to lead with a human-centered approach as leaders. And I say 4 because me and Amanda came up with a lot of ways that we are bringing this forward at Thoughtium. So we wanted to make it very clear, concise. We picked our top 4 and we're ready to give them to you. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes. All right. So to get started, we want to just create the space for, again, us as people. So Amanda, what's going on in your world today?
Oh, man. As some of you know, I'm a new mom. So I kicked off my day on little to no sleep, which is the world we're living in, but with lots of just like beautiful little smiles, which makes the day so much better. So, started the day off as mom, came into work, and now we're here and ready to kind of rock this perspective series. I'm excited.
Yeah. Super excited to have you.
Yeah.
And I love that you said mom role, but it still doesn't leave. Like, we bring it up in conversation, how you're doing today as a mom, because, the mom hat is still on.
Yeah, it's on.
The professional hat just comes on top of that, right?
Yeah, totally does.
Yeah.
It totally does. We're still navigating it. It's a big transition. And so we're figuring it out, together. And I'm thankful for, the team kind of going through the journey with me, because it's new and it's not something you can really prepare for. So that support is really helpful.
Yeah. The people orientation that we bring, you see it from start to finish at Thoughtium, and we're so excited to give you guys just a few of those tidbits so you can bring them forward. And I think our first piece of the 4 is about you, Amanda, your role as our Chief of Staff. So if you could tell us about what you do here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the most unique and interesting ways that we kind of bring that human-centered approach for a small firm, as small as we are, is by investing in this Chief of Staff role, in my role. So while as leaders, we are all, accountable to, being in service to our people, I have a lot of my roles designated to our people strategy. And what this allows us to do, it ensures that there's a leader or a people lens at the leadership level with every decision we make. So what the outcome of that is, every decision we make serves and supports the health of the business, and it serves and supports the health of our team and the people that we employ in our business. Yeah, it's I think maybe unique and different for a small firm to make this investment in this role, but it's an investment that has served us very, very well.
Yeah. And it's when you think about it, yes, people are at the front and the front and center and foundation of all companies. We are just thankful to be able to have that space to bring it forward and do more about it.
Yeah.
At every level within our company.
Absolutely. And I think too, with that people strategy, I think a lot of times leaders and small business owners think we have to do these grand, flashy gestures to invest in our people. Maybe it's benefits, maybe it's policies. There's been a couple of things that we've done recently that have come with a small cost investment, but have been really powerful for our team. One of those things being our investment in Type Coach, which you're the champion of in our 4 walls, right? Mm-hmm. Investing in understanding how we operate as individuals so we can work more effectively together. So that's been a really great investment for us. Another way has been through the work we do with our core values and our operating norms. Mm-hmm. How we show up matters, and making that investment in our culture, it empowers our team to show up in really powerful ways with each other, right? Mm-hmm. All of that is really important. So we've made some pretty hefty investments on evolving, enhancing, making sure we're actually walking the walk, talking the talk when it comes to our operating norms. And that has really paid off and allowed our team to really show up as their whole authentic selves in a way that serves the business in a really healthy way.
Yeah. Internally and externally. Yeah. So when Amanda says walk the talk, talk the walk, some version of that, it's not just here at Thoughtium. where we do that. We also bring it to our clients. So directly to the work that we do in helping teams cultivate their own purpose, their shared purpose, their individual purpose, which can be a daunting topic. What is your purpose? We bring it forward in a more tangible, digestible way, that it's not just a statement on paper.
Right.
And our values are things that are also not just things on paper. They are true ways of being and how we show up in the world. And I mean, we'll get there, I know, with how I knew your values straight off the first 5 minutes of our first interview. But it's just so empowering to know. I hope for you all to know that we're not just doing it for ourselves, but we bring this to our clients and it works. It's the foundation that every team, we just want them to have that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, we have a question no, we just have a strong statement. I love it. Thank you, Darren, for saying that we are the ladies of Thoughtium.
Yes.
What
Hi, Darren.
Title. Can I get that on a crew neck? I love that.
So good.
Oh, wonderful. So with our series with perspectives, we like to have, I think you know this, a lightning round sort of feel at the end of the session.
Okay. So you're keeping me on my toes right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless, did we hit kind of?
Yeah. I think
we hit good with bucket one.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would like to bring forward today, so we don't have a good transition. We don't have a good transition from bucket 1 to 2. However, we could make one. What I want to do instead is, for my segue, do what I'm going to call a mandatory moment. A mandatory moment. So our lightning round is going to start with a question about your dog, Simba.
Okay.
If you had to think about Simba's love language, what do you think it would be?
Oh, physical touch.
Easy. She answered that so quickly.
Yeah, he's the neediest little dog, big dog
Love
that
it.
you will ever meet. Yeah.
And how about, so that's what he wants to receive. What does he give?
Physical touch.
All things physical touch, everybody.
He's in your face. That's a hilarious question. Yeah. Physical touch all around.
Great answer. Not that there's a wrong one, but that's a fun answer. Awesome. So shall we take the group to bucket 2?
Number 2. Yeah. So the second way that we really bring a human-centered approach here at Thoughtium is through our recruiting approach. So I'm going to say something that might be provocative. If I've got HR professionals on the phone, you might not like this, but it's working really well for us. So when we kick off our recruiting process, I am always the first interview. I don't look at the resumes.
Doesn't look at the resume.
If you come across my desk, it's because someone on our team already knows and values your skills and experience. I know that you've got some experience that we're interested in learning more about.
There's a screening being done.
Totally. There's screening being done. It's not me.
Yeah.
What I bring to our recruiting process is the human focus, right? I want to know what you're passionate about outside of work. I want to know what you're reading, watching, listening to. I want to know what different, unique, interesting perspectives and experience you can bring to our table. Because I don't need 10 more Nicoles. I don't need 10 more Amandas. I need people to fill gaps that we don't currently have. I want culture adds. I don't want culture fits, right? And frankly, for me, to play that role in our recruiting process, the resume biases me. I might say, oh, she's from Iowa also. Or interesting. There might be something on the resume that actually biases me totally in a way that isn't helpful to the process. So I already know someone else is screening them. So they're bringing really talented people to the table. I want to meet with a human.
Yeah. Oh, and you said culture add, not culture fit. That's next level.
Yeah.
We're talking about making a good culture fit. But do you really get that strong, diversified team if that's your approach?
Yeah.
And when you're
more of the same
into the resume too. Yeah. I love that. And it's, again, puts us back to we're people before professionals, and you don't need to see who I am on paper via a resume.
Yeah.
That's a helpful piece, but that's not the whole person.
Right. And I think also too, at the second half of the interview, I'm able to share a bit about what we do, who we are, our cultures, our values. And because an interview, they're choosing us just as much as we're choosing them. And I want them to know that. I want them to know that they have agency. I think sometimes when people are in the job search, they it's all about like, oh, I need to get the employer to like me. Like I want
You're
them
in
to
the
like
hot
us
seat.
too. Yeah. I
Right.
want to be really clear about who we are, who we're not. We're a small team. We do things a little different here. And so I want to set that expectation up front, but ultimately it's all about just having a really strong, human connection in that first interview, and it's carried through all the way through our process. I think that's the main feedback that we've gotten from candidates along the way, whether or not they join us, is that they have just really enjoyed meeting the people behind the process. So yeah, I that white glove process is really, really important to me, and it's served us very well in the talent that we've been able to retain here.
Yeah, and so much on the receiving end. I'll share in the timeliness. Let me speak to that because I've gone. I mean, how many interview processes have you gone through? And it's been like months, or they wait weeks. I felt through my process. I think I spoke to maybe 4 teammates, and it was within a few days. So that energy and that excitement for me was driven equally throughout every interview I had, and I can think back to it's almost like one of those flashball memories taking me back to our interview. And I just remember
I was sitting on the floor of what's now my nursery.
And you just got out of like a
doctor appointment.
Yes. Yeah, for your baby.
Yes.
I was like, wow, I know she's a dog mom. She's an expecting mom. She just recently got married. And man, did that take a lot of just release and pressure off of me to be the right me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just, I remember leaving that and I couldn't stop talking about it to folks. I'm like, I've never felt so myself and so comfortable in an interview. And it just, again, with that feeling that you brought me, showed me so much about the company so quickly. And it carried on through every interview I had.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm trying to change how we look and think about interviewing. We need to have more respect for the candidate journey, period.
Yeah.
Like our candidates should hear from us if we're delayed, if something gets, paused. So it's not just within our own 4 walls. It's how we treat people that are interested in joining our team as well. If I promise you that I'm going to get to you by end of week with a response, I'm going to get to you by end of the week. And if we don't have a response, I'm going to let you know that. I just don't think it's fair for employers to say, this is our process. They're on our time schedule. No, like they're invested in the process with us. Let's treat them well.
Yeah. And you're already building that psychological safety with a potential person on the team. And just I had another thought and I'm losing it. Trust.
Yes.
Psychological safety and trust.
Totally.
Before they even walk in the door as a true team member.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else you got on recruiting?
I think that's it. Yeah.
We ready for another mandatory moment?
Let's go.
All right. I asked this question to Michelle, so I'm going to bring it back because I'm just now curious to everyone's answer. The last movie that you wept watching.
Oh, that I wept watching. Okay, I'm going to be really honest.
Yeah.
The way I watch movies is staring at my phone and sleeping. Gosh, it might have been Dear Evan Hansen, the movie version.
What is it?
It's based on a musical.
Yeah.
And it's very sad.
Dear
Evan Hansen.
Dear Evan Hansen.
It's very sad.
Oh.
It's really sad.
Based on a musical?
It's a musical first and then they adapted it into a movie.
Yeah. Did you see the musical?
I haven't seen the musical, but I know the music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you wept watching the movie, would you go see the musical?
I would, but like it's a sad maybe not
mindset.
Maybe not postpartum. Yeah, maybe I wait a little bit.
Okay. Create the space for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So let's take them on to bucket 3.
Bucket 3. Okay. So the third way is we have real intentionality around how we share time and space together as a team.
Yes, we do.
So there's a few things that go into this. The first is, this whole series is about hybridity. So we have a real communication strategy that plays well to a hybrid and remote workforce. We have this beautiful office in Chicago. Less than half of our team lives in Chicago. We've got people kind of all over the country, and we've had to evolve and completely enhance and often revisit our communication strategy to ensure that it's equitable and inclusive to all the people. So a very simple thing that we do to make sure that everyone is having a great experience when we're on team calls. If we've got 3 people in one room and maybe 2 people remote, everyone turns on their camera. It's a way better experience for the people that aren't in the room because sometimes it's not fun to be the only person that's not in the room, right? You feel like you're missing out. And so creating that really inclusive hybrid workplace and really, constantly assessing your communication strategy is super important.
Mhm.
The next element of this, I think, is around how we physically share space together. So, like I said, we've got multiple people kind of all around the country. We make some pretty considerable
And beyond
and beyond the
countries.
country. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. We make some considerable investments in our team traveling to Chicago so we can be here together. And when we do that, there's like real design and thought that goes into how those, 3-4 days are spent.
Mhm.
We make sure that we've got time to like be in the work together. We make sure that we have time for connection. So whether it be an avocado toast bar breakfast that Nora, our executive assistant, puts on, or we go to a happy hour, or our directors Michael and Rachel have done such an incredible job creating fun upskilling development opportunities for our team. It's super intentional though. We never just have the team show up and think, what might we do to like connect with each other or to be in the work together. It's very, very intentional how we share time and space. We also make sure there's time for just like total fun. Like this summer, we had a wonderful summer outing. We got on a boat. We did
get on a boat. We played Team Jeopardy.
And it was all customized to our team. And like we still look back at that so fondly. Like Nora just crushed that exercise. It was so much fun.
It was about the team, and I remember she brought in an element of Chicago to help the team get oriented.
Yes.
And I will never forget that the Chicago hot dog has 9 toppings.
You learned
because I got it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I think I said the 7 and it was 9. We'll never forget. But it happened to be the same day as the air show.
And the air show, yeah. That was just such a fun experience for our crew to get out of the office or even out of the neighborhood and just be, enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
And then I think one other thing that that is new to this is we've recently redesigned our office space. And you might say, why? You only have a few people in your office. Like, why would you make that investment? We made that investment because it allows us to ensure that our team is able to show up at their best in front of the clients and with each other. So we've got designated facilitation space. We've got designated heads down space, and we've got designated collaboration space where you can be in the work together, or you can have lunch like we did literally right before this call. So there's just real intentionality about how we share time and space together. And that investment and that intentionality allows people to really show up authentically and actually enjoy being here together.
Yep.
Like our team, I say this a lot, like our team is really obsessed with each other in a way that I've never seen in another team. And I have to assume that it's not only that we're hiring great people, it's because we're really thinking about these things and being intentional about them.
Yeah. And we have so much to connect on. We know a lot about each other. So when we come together, it's not awkward when we're spending lunch together and trying to find something to talk about. We recognize that we have lives outside of work, and we celebrate that. We bring that to the conversation. And it's not even, for moments when everyone's coming into Chicago to get together, but also like on our virtual meetings. So we will create the space at the beginning of our meetings for like non-work conversation starters.
Yep.
You had a great one. I think it was 2 weeks ago or so. You asked the group, like, what's a skill or talent that you have that you don't bring to work? And I want to think of another. Do you remember some of the other ones?
What time do you wake up and what time do you go to bed?
Yes.
It's just fun ways to learn about each other. And like, it's just fun.
Yeah. And that also connects to our first episode on boundary setting. Because once we talk about like, I'm a morning person, Michael's a night owl.
Right.
That will play into a part of how we're best showing up during the day. And it's like, well, if you're talking to me, we can talk around 9 a.m. Michael, he's probably better off in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in his mouth. That might not be true, but he is definitely a night owl.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right. Another mandatory moment.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
These get me really nervous. I don't know what's coming.
I think I had a really good one. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Thinking back to your childhood, which I know is broad, a childhood candy that you loved and that you very much gravitated towards this candy. What would it be if you could have it right now?
Oh man. The first thing that came to mind is so I'm the youngest of 3. I'm the only girl. My brothers are 10 and 7 years older than me. And so I got dragged to like all of their things, like as a small child. And I remember being it was called Pulaski Ballpark, and they had like the little concessions or whatever. It's like, this is like, kids baseball.
Yeah.
and I would go to the concessions and get banana Laffy Taffies.
Ooh.
And I like would never eat that today. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't sound good at all, but that's a very distinct tie to my childhood candy.
Yeah.
Pick. Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I think we all have a weird relationship with Laffy Taffy because it tastes so good and the texture is like nice, but it makes your mouth so wet in ways like no other candy does. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have no desire for a Laffy Taffy today, I'll be honest, but yeah.
A good memory to have.
Good memory. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. We have one more bucket.
One more. Yeah. So the last way is through our performance management process. So we, of course, set firm-wide goals. We have firm-wide metrics. Of course, the team is all, aligning towards those goals. But what I think is unique and differentiated in our process is we encourage and require our team to own and drive their own careers, which means they get to say, this is where I want to develop this year. I want exposure to this part of our business that I haven't had. I want to brush up on this skill. You name it, we can typically accommodate it. And I think that's really exciting for our team. And they know that like that's a huge investment in them, right? We don't have to just like cascade goals down, that like they didn't have a say in, that, they came from like some person at the top. Like it's very much a collaborative process. Like I really enjoy setting my goals. I come to the table with our CEO, my direct boss, Norm, and he puts in kind of his thoughts and maybe brings a perspective that like I hadn't thought about. And I leave those sessions being like, ooh, this is going to be really good. Like I'm getting something out of this. I'm not a cog in the system trying to like meet some like firm-wide goal. Of course, my actions are going to, ladder up to that. But like I constantly I'm like, I'm going to be better at the end of this. And that's like a really, really important and differentiated thing. I've never had that at a company before. I don't know how you feel about our process now, having gone through one.
Yeah, it's such a win-win feeling because you're developing yourself and you're also developing the team and doing it for the better of the business. So what else can you ask for, really, when it comes to performance?
Yeah, definitely. The development of the team is super important, and that makes them want to show up and want to bring their whole self and work really hard for the firm. So, and then I think in the performance vein is just a really heavy emphasis and commitment to feedback culture.
Ooh,
I feel like every company says we have a feedback culture. We have what's a radical candor, stuff like that. Often that's not like the case. And we don't always get it right, but we have a real commitment to feedback up, down, side to side, and making sure that people feel safe to say like, hey, I've got some feedback for you, even if it's going up or to a peer. Again, we skin our knees. We don't always get it right, but it is at the forefront of, our norms and values. That be courageous norm. That's where that feedback culture sits. And so we're continuously working towards that as well.
And it's in little tidbits. We like to think of it as a muscle, providing feedback as a muscle that you just keep strengthening. It's a habit. And the way we do it very tactfully is WWWEBI. Take this home with you, if nothing else. What went well and even better if. So whether it's a meeting that we're driving internally, a facilitation that we're doing, overall just project feedback that you'd like to gain, it applies to anything really within the workplace is what did we do well and what would be even better. So we like to start off with the celebrations, those small wins, big wins, but creating the space for that and the more constructive, what could be better. That was ingrained early on and it's so tangible. It's easy.
Yeah. I think Rachel brought that kind of to our organization and it's really, really, really stuck.
Oh, she brought it from somewhere else.
I don't know. I'm not sure if she made it up or if she brought it from somewhere else, but that's where I first heard
it's
it.
Not copyright.
I think we're okay.
Okay.
But it really has stuck. And what I find is people actually ask for it.
Yes.
Where it can be scary to ask for feedback and it can feel a little daunting and weird because you don't know what people are going to say. And so it's a really approachable way for after I have finished something, delivered some project, say, hey, any WWW EBIs that you've got for me? And the stage is set for some good feedback. So
yes, it is.
Yeah.
One last piece with performance that I want you to touch on for our audience is our ELT 360s. Because I think that is an unlock.
Yeah. So we just went through this process. We just wrapped it up here in the last week or two. And so we, gained the feedback from the team. We had stakeholders provide the feedback for each member of the ELT. And I think what we did different that you're wanting me to speak on is once they received and synthesized their feedback, they then reflected back to the team. This is what I heard. These are my commitments to you. And I say they because I wasn't in the process because I was on mat leave. So mine will come later. Then also another step beyond that, the ELT got the themes that were true across all of the members of the leadership team. So, there were like maybe 4 or 5 things that like all of us got this feedback. So how can we as an ELT really commit to the team and make some strides and kind of work towards, developing some new skills or muscles, or, working against maybe some of those cultural things that we need to kind of address.
Yeah.
I think it's not enough to just go through the process. You can do that.
Yeah.
But like, why not make some commitments? Why not, like, if you're investing the time and the resources into it, like, let's really work on changing behavior. Let's really show people that we hear them.
Yeah.
Let's also send the signal that when you give feedback, we hear you,
right?
Like really hear you.
Yes.
And we're going to work on it. And so that was kind of the purpose of that pull through. And the team probably doesn't know this, but like those themes are going to be things that we continuously come back to throughout the year. How, like, benchmarking, how are we doing against this feedback?
Yeah. Individually and as a team. I know you guys are so good at getting together as an executive leadership team, extended leadership team. ELT, you can take that acronym too for you, however it works in your company. But the way that you guys also hold accountability to one another and share it out with the team, I think, is just something to so emphasize, because it's providing that level of transparency and openness that we all have things to work on our different levels. And we're just open for the feedback always.
Right. We don't need to stand behind it. Feedback is just an opportunity to grow and get better. Right.
Yep.
I think we have a question, Nicole.
What is some of the best advice around team culture that you are giving our clients?
Ooh, good question.
Do you want to take it first?
I mean, I'm not in the client work, so you go first.
That's true.
I can give some just, advice that I would give.
Yeah.
But you go first.
Okay. Team culture to our clients. It starts with leadership, modeling good behavior, and the type of person that you are is what you want everyone else. Well, that's not true. Let me take a step back because I saw where my mouth was going. Just modeling the right sort of leadership qualities and capabilities that you want everyone to have. So just because you have the title as a leader doesn't mean, people under you aren't leaders as well. Like, how can you show up in a way that supports one another and do it through action? So little habits and different behavioral changes that you bring each day to support one another, to remember that we are people before professionals. It's those little micro changes that we're making, those 1% improvements at growing ourselves and then ultimately the team. And it doesn't happen overnight. I'd say that's the big piece. We tell people, don't expect transformation overnight. That's not what we're selling you or providing you. We're creating the space in our, workshops, experiences with our clients, so they can create the conversation to build that better team culture. And it starts with them.
Yeah, totally. +1 on that. I would say, should I still answer? Should I
Sure.
go? Okay.
Yeah.
The question disappeared, so I wasn't sure. I would say a tidbit that I heard a few years ago in my career is your culture is only as strong as the worst behavior you allow.
Ooh, can you say that again?
Your culture is only as strong as the worst behavior you allow. So if you've got these norms and values that you're speaking to, but you've got even one individual on your team that is maybe not acting or showing up in that same manner, that's as strong as your culture is. If you allow that behavior with one person, your culture is going to deteriorate slowly.
Yeah.
So making sure that you're holding everyone to the same standard
that's a good one.
across the board, regardless of role or title, is really important.
I like that. I like that one. Do we have any more questions? These are fun. Okay. All right. Well, anything else for bucket 4?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could keep talking about this
all day.
I told you we had more than 4, but we tried to narrow it down to be very intentional with your time. So thanks for listening in. One last mandatory moment before I get the group excited for the 3rd episode of our Perspective series. So my 3rd question for you, thinking about something that you admire about yourself. And if you could fill in the blank here, if the world were more like me, it would be.
I love this prompt. It's my favorite prompt. If the world were more like me, it would be much more empathetic.
Yeah. Let's just sit with that one. Great answer. More empathetic. I feel that. I'm more empathetic because of you, Amanda.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
That's so kind. Thank you.
That's very true. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Amanda, for taking the hot seat with me.
Thank you for having me.
And let me round us out with what's coming up next. So, to wrap up our perspective series, today's work is hybrid. We bring you the founders of Type Coach, Carly and Rob Toomey. Type Coach is an adaptive communication system that not only identifies the working styles on your team, but also helps your team develop better communication and collaboration techniques based on your team's makeup. And in this special episode, Carly and Rob are going to highlight how Type Coach compares to its competitors. We've heard of Myers-Briggs. We've probably heard of DISC and so forth. And we're going to connect what Type Coach, how Type Coach goes beyond that. And also we're going to extend to you a promotional offer to all of our viewers so you can get started with Type Coach before bringing it to your team. This is so near and dear to me as we call myself the Type Coach guru, the shaman, all things Type Coach within Thoughtium. I'm super excited to continue this work with more teams because we all have preferences. We all have communication styles. As you know, in the spirit of bringing the whole person to the workplace, let's start talking about those preferences and tendencies. Until next time.